Iran has bombed a United States ship. At 2 a.m. local time on March 2, 2026, the Iranian military launched projectiles directly at an American oil tanker while it was docked in the port of Bahrain. On top of that, we now have footage of Iran's new secret hypersonic missile, the Fattah 2, a weapon that flies at Mach 12 and was fired just hours after this attack. And more Iranian fighter jets have been shot down over Qatar. I am going to break all of it down for you, so stick around, you do not want to miss a second. Before we get started, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about the war? Who do you think is winning? And how should we respond to a US ship being bombed? This is breaking news. The Stena Imperative, a US-flagged bulk oil tanker, was struck this morning by multiple projectiles launched by Iran while sitting pierside at Bahrain's port. The attack started fires on board. The ship has not sunk, but we do not yet know the full extent of the damage. Now, here is what makes this so much worse than it sounds. The Stena Imperative is not a regular commercial tanker. It is one of just 10 vessels enrolled in the U.S. Navy's Tanker Security Program. Make a note of that. That program exists for one reason: to guarantee that the American military always has access to fuel delivery during global conflicts and national emergencies. This is a specially protected ship, handpicked by the Department of Defense to keep fuel flowing to U.S. forces no matter what. And Iran just put a hole in it while it was parked at a port that hosts the Fifth Fleet. Naval support activity: Bahrain, over 8,000 U.S. military personnel. The operational headquarters for every American warship from the Gulf of Oman to the Red Sea. Bahrain sits barely 200 kilometers from the Iranian coast. Anything launched from southern Iran reaches Bahrain in minutes, not hours, minutes. Iran did not just bomb a ship. Iran bombed a ship that the U.S. military literally cannot afford to lose, in a port it was never supposed to be vulnerable in. That is Tehran telling Washington, your protected assets are not protected anymore. And this happened in the middle of Operation Epic Fury, a massive American military campaign already hitting Iranian missile silos and strategic infrastructure. Tehran hit back, and it chose the target carefully. We will come back to Epic Fury because it is the thread that ties this entire situation together. But first, something happened 24 hours earlier that barely made the news, and it reveals how badly things are unraveling. Before we get into the Iranian bombers that got shot down over Qatar and what the Fattah 2 hypersonic missile actually means for the American military, please make sure to subscribe and like the video if you're seeing this. Now, March 1st, 2026, 3 U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagles were shot down by Kuwait. Kuwaiti air defense batteries mistook them for hostile aircraft during Epic Fury operations and opened fire. All 6 aircrew ejected and were recovered. They survived. The jets did not. Each F-15E costs around $90 million. It is a dual-role fighter designed to fly deep into hostile territory, loaded with over 23,000 pounds of ordnance, laser-guided bombs, JDAMs, standoff cruise missiles. 3 of them gone in one incident because an ally could not tell friend from enemy on radar. That is close to $270 million in hardware destroyed by people on our side. And the bigger issue is what it says about conditions in the theater. The electronic environment over the Gulf right now is a mess. Dozens of radar systems, coalition and Iranian, all radiating at once. Identification friend or foe systems are supposed to prevent exactly this kind of disaster. They failed. When allied crews are pulling the trigger on your own jets during live combat, the system is buckling under the strain. The operations tempo has outrun the ability to coordinate safely, and we are still early in this campaign. Qatar, March 2nd, 2026. This one crosses a line. Qatari air defenses shot down 2 Iranian Su-24 Fencer bombers. The Qatari Ministry of Defense confirmed both kills. These were not recon aircraft poking around the border. These were armed attack planes heading for U.S. military positions on Qatari soil. The Su-24 is a variable sweep-wing bomber, Soviet-designed, entered service back in 1974. Iran still flies them. Combat radius around 600 kilometers. They can carry dumb bombs, laser-guided munitions, and standoff weapons. Iran sent them into Qatari airspace on what was essentially a suicide run against American targets inside a sovereign allied country. No ambiguity, no deniable proxy. Iranian military jets in Qatari airspace, armed and heading for American positions. Share this with everyone you know, because Iran sent armed bombers into a U.S. ally's airspace to attack American forces. Qatar hosts allied Al Udeid Air Base. That is the biggest American military installation in the Middle East. The Combined Air Operations Center is there. Every coalition air sortie from North Africa to Central Asia gets coordinated out of that facility. The forward headquarters of U.S. Central Command operates from Al Udeid. More than 10,000 American service members are on that base at any given time. An attack aimed near Al Udeid is an attack on the brain of the entire American military operation across the region. Iran's commanders knew those Su-24s would probably get intercepted before reaching their targets. They launched them anyway. That is a calculated escalation. It tells every Gulf state that Tehran now considers Allied airspace a valid battleground. No one is exempt. After that, things got worse fast. Iranian forces started launching waves of ballistic missiles and drones across the Gulf, Bahrain, the UAE, surrounding waters. Regional defense ministries have confirmed multiple intercepts, but the quantity is the real concern here. This is not a few rockets scattered around. This is saturation. The intent is plain. Throw enough at Patriot batteries and THAAD systems and Aegis destroyers until the interceptors run dry. Each Patriot round costs somewhere between $2 and $4 million. A battery only carries so many ready missiles. When those canisters are empty, resupply means shipping new rounds from factories back in the United States. That logistics chain takes weeks. Iran does not have to build a better missile than what America has. It just has to fire more missiles than America has interceptors. The math is ugly, and it is starting to tilt in Tehran's favor. Every salvo drains the magazine. Every empty launcher is one less shield between Iranian warheads and American personnel. Share this with everyone you know because the interceptor stockpile in the Gulf is being burned down faster than it can be replaced. Now, the Fattah 2. This is the part I have been building to, and it changes everything. On March 2nd, 2026, same day the tanker got hit, Iran launched a Fattah 2 hypersonic missile, Mach 12, roughly 9,200 miles per hour. To understand what that means, a Patriot PAC-3 interceptor handles targets moving around Mach 4 to 5. The Fattah 2 is nearly 3 times faster than what our best deployed system is designed to catch. Iran says the range is past 1,400 kilometers. That puts Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, and chunks of Saudi Arabia inside the kill zone. The weapon uses a maneuverable re-entry vehicle. It does not arc across the sky in a nice, predictable curve the way old ballistic missiles do. It changes course on the way down. Lateral moves during terminal descent. That makes it vastly harder for any current defense system to get a lock and destroy it. People carry this idea that American missile defense can swat down anything in the sky. The reality is that every interceptor deployed in the Gulf was designed around the assumption that incoming warheads fly predictable paths. The Fattah 2 breaks that assumption cold. 12,000 American service members are spread across bases in the Gulf right now. Every one of those installations just got a lot more dangerous to stand on, and there is no fast answer to a threat moving at Mach 12. None of this exists separately from the Strait of Hormuz. About 20% of global oil supply passes through that gap every day. 17 million barrels. At the narrowest point, the shipping lanes are 2 miles wide on each side with a 2-mile buffer in between. Iran can reach those lanes from its mainland and from its islands. The IRGC Navy has hundreds of fast attack boats armed with anti-ship missiles. Mines have been pre-positioned along likely closure routes. Iran has practiced swarming tactics against larger ships in exercises since the late 90s. If Tehran decides to choke that strait even partially, oil prices spike within minutes. Crude could double overnight. Every economy on the planet feels that. Here is how all of this connects. Operation Epic Fury launched February 28, 2026. Full-spectrum American retaliatory campaign. Iranian missile silos, command infrastructure, and other strategic military targets have been reportedly struck. Some analysts speculate that nuclear-related sites, such as Natanz and Fordow, could be in future targeting plans. Airstrikes, drones, electronic warfare, special operations. The assumption from some planners was that Iran would absorb the damage and scramble for a response. That did not happen. Tehran came back with a layered counter-campaign of its own, a specially protected U.S. Military tanker bombed in Bahrain, armed bombers sent into Qatar, missile and drone salvos blanketing the Gulf, and a hypersonic launch that most Western intelligence assessments did not expect Iran to pull off operationally for another 2 or 3 years. This is not a disorganized regime flailing after getting hit. This is a military executing a prepared response. Go back to those F-15Es for a second. The friendly fire disaster tells you the tempo of this fight has outpaced the coordination holding it all together. Allied air defense crews could not confirm identity on American jets in real time. Now pile Iranian drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles into those same overtaxed networks simultaneously. The whole system is straining toward a breaking point. And watching all of this from the sidelines, Moscow and Beijing, Russia has fed technical support into Iran's ballistic missile program for years, including work on solid fuel propellant technology directly relevant to weapons like the Fattah series. China buys roughly a quarter of its crude oil through the Strait of Hormuz. Neither wants a direct war with the United States. Both benefit from Washington bleeding resources in another Middle Eastern conflict. Iranian state media has already aired statements suggesting tighter military coordination with both countries. If Tehran thinks it has quiet backing from 2 nuclear-armed powers, the appetite for risk goes up. Stena Imperative bombed in Bahrain, March 2nd, part of the Navy's tanker security program, one of 10 protected vessels. Fires on board, Iran confirmed. 3 F-15Es downed by Kuwaiti friendly fire. 6 crew recovered, 90 million per jet. 2 Su 24 fencers destroyed by Qatar. Arm strike run on U.S. positions. Waves of Iranian missiles and drones across the Gulf. Saturation campaign. Interceptor stocks draining fast. Fattah 2 launched. Mach 12. Maneuvering warhead. Defenses not built for it. Strait of Hormuz under threat. 20% of world oil. 17 million barrels a day. Epic fury ongoing since February 28th. Tehran hitting back with a coordinated counter-campaign. Russia and China watching. Escalation potential climbing by the hour. One thing is certain, Iran has shown it can field a hypersonic weapon that rewrites the threat equation for every American base in the Persian Gulf. Tehran's response to epic fury is coordinated and deliberate, not the reaction of a regime in panic. The coming days will determine whether Washington pushes for a knockout blow against Iran's launch sites or steps back to reassess, knowing that either path reshapes the Middle East for a generation. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like the video and subscribe to support the channel, and click the video on the screen if you missed my last one. I will see you in the next one.